Hello and welcome to our FleadhFest 2021 in the Northern region. We hope everyone is keeping safe and well, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all those that have passed worldwide in the last couple of years. The first branch in the Northern region was Liverpool branch. That was in 1967. The first chairperson was Pascal Madden of the region. There was originally around 16 branches. There are now 7 branches in the Northern region, which are Tara O'Carolan, Ashton, Leeds, Liverpool, Tyneside, Middlesbrough and St Wilfred's. I hope you enjoy the next couple of hours. Thank you very much. Sláinte.
Hello, I'm Maureen Martin and I'm the chairperson of the Tara O'Carolan. I was also the chairperson of the Tara for a good while before we merged. Initially it was the O'Carolan. To be honest with you, although we had split, we'd never really split because you saw the 3 girls playing there before. Well, obviously 2 of them are my granddaughters, but also Michelle is also from a very musical family. And she's been in Comhaltas since she was a baby also, the same as the 2 girls here. So we've always been friends. Michelle's brother and my son were great friends, so we had never really split. So it just seemed a logical thing to, hang on, let's get back together again. Because we were using the musicians from both branches for bands, so it just made sense to... Initially, there was only 1 branch in Manchester, and that was at St Brendan's. And that's where I took my children to the music. And everything was fine one week. We went down the following week and knocked on the door because I wasn't able to get in. And somebody came out and said, "Oh, it's not here anymore." So I said, "Why, what's happened?" "Oh, there's been a row." So I thought, well, they're Irish, it's reasonable. So she said, "They've gone to the Holy Name." So that's how we ended up in O'Carolan, as opposed to St Wilfred's. St Wilfred's was only across the way, but that hadn't been mentioned. So we went down to the Holy Name, and there must have been then, they decided to have a meeting because to form a branch. And at that time, there must have been about 150 people there wanting to create a branch. So that's what we did. There was a few names put forward and we decided that O'Carolan was a good name because of him being this wonderful musician from years ago. So that's how we got the name also. But at that time as well, obviously the teachers, there's a bit of a different dynamic with the teachers because Marion Flannery was the girl that taught at St Wilfred's at the time. And also a lad from Crewe called Tony Ryan. He was a flute player there. And they went to St Wilfred's. But when we went down to the Holy Name, there was a lad called Jerry Higgins and a woman called Nan Donlan. They were wonderful teachers, but there was that many children. There was bands 1, 2, 3 and 4, a bit like St Roch's now. And what happened was, they all had to have totally different... She didn't want any of them to be playing the same things. And one of the bands played Turkey in the Straw. Beautifully, I have to say. But when they played it, the adjudicator said, "I'd just like to correct you here. We will have to... what's the word? Expel it. Stop it, like. Because you shouldn't be playing Turkey in the Straw. It's an American song. But you have played it beautifully, but we cannot accept it. It's not an Irish traditional music, so that was the end of that. But then, what happened then, we got a lady called Delia Buckley, and she was fantastic. She was from Roscommon. She's dead now, God be good to her and her husband. And they were also in with a family called Smithers and Michael Reynolds, a whole lot of well-known people around the place that time. And Delia taught them everything. And in 1982, there was a thing called Fanfare, a competition on the television, and she sorted them all out. and our group won. And it was absolutely fantastic that this group had won this thing on television, Irish music, you know, because a lot of them were doing things like Round the Maypole and, you know, Morris dancing. They had all sorts of things in it. But our group, it was presented a bit like a groupie Cheoil, and it was absolutely fantastic, and they won. So that was a major thing then. But then Delia's daughter wasn't too well, so she wasn't able to give the time to it that she'd like to have given it. And Sarah's mother, Angela, and her brother took over teaching at the branch there for a good while, and they did all that. And then Kevin Madden came and taught at our branch then. Peter Carberry did as well. And so, you know, we've had quite a few teachers who've all been fantastic, you know. And now we've also got these 3 girls that were sat here who are also teachers at the branch. As you can see what they teach. Well, not really, in fairness, because Michelle teaches the piano, she teaches the tin whistle, and teaches the bodhrán, and she teaches the accordion. I've said piano. And Sarah teaches the button accordion, the tin whistle, and the flute. And Maria teaches the whistle and the fiddle. So, you know, we're well fitted out with plenty of choice. And we've had a couple of people who have won the All Irelands with the teaching of the people down there. So, you know, we've been very successful as a branch, so that was being very good, you know. So. Every year they've played for the Irish language group. They've played in concerts for various things. They've done guest spots. They've gone and played for dinner dances, the various associations that have dinner dances. They've had groups that have gone down and played there, you know. And when that happens, people like Michelle, Sarah and Maria, they go, but they bring as many children as possible, so they have this experience of playing out, as they call it, you know, which is great, because if you think about it, music is really to be enjoyed, and if you go and learn some instrument and then you only stay at home playing in the corner, and parents often, I'm sorry, I've seen it, saying, shut up. Then they go to lessons and the teacher says, you've not practiced that. No, well, Mummy said I had to shut up, you know, and all that. So when they get the opportunity to appear in public, play out, it's fantastic. We were talking about homework, and he was saying children have far too much. He said, when I was young, you never had that, and still I came on, and I'm a consultant gynecologist, and I've delivered babies by test tube and all this sort of thing. I think children should play away, and most importantly, they should learn a musical instrument. So I thought, good for you, but it's true, isn't it? Well, to be honest with you now, my eldest son, who died a couple of years ago, God be good to him, he was 8 when he joined Comhaltas. So I've been a member ever since, and so has Sarah's mum and all the family. And of course Sarah went to her first Fleadh when she was 11 months old, because I had actually won a boat trip ticket, and at that time you could have 5 people for the price of 1 going to Ireland. So they came as well, and Sarah was in Listowel, jumping around on people's fiddles and everything, playing away, and they'd go, woo! She'd dive in on top of them. But like, she's been a member all those years. As I say, we have total commitment from all of our teachers and everything. Her family have been members since I don't know when either, because I know when they started as well. So, you know, Michelle has been a member for years too, so a very, very long time. So we've been involved in loads of things. I think up until about 2 years before the Fleadh, I think that was the very first time in all her life that Sarah had ever missed a Fleadh. Even if she wasn't competing herself, the same as Michelle, they would go with their students to make sure they did well, you know. But also, through Comhaltas, we used to have a thing called Cúrlóg, and every Easter we used to go to Ireland for 2 weeks. We used to have about 3 minibuses. It was a fantastic thing. And people from all over the country would meet up and go to Ireland for this trip. And we'd been to several places in Ireland, and while we were there, you know, you would see what industry was there. I might tell you there wasn't very much of it. One of the industrial points that we went to was a lady's furniture shop. But we did also go on a boat out fishing for the day, so that was wonderful. But we did the pubs and hospitals and things, playing all that time, and then children would have lessons playing as well. And there was a great man from Bradford. He was an artist, and he was always doing Irish artwork, you know. I must see, can I find it? He made a picture of an accordion that had Sarah's name in it, and he made one for Maria of a violin with her name. I don't know how he's done it. It's upstairs somewhere. I must have a good route during the week. Well, Maria here, that was here before playing fiddle, she went. It was 11 years old that you had to be before you could go. And I was asked would I go as a leader, so I said, of course I would. But I also looked after the children while Angela was at work. So I said, well, I'm sorry, I'll have to bring Maria because there'll be no one to look after her while I'm gone. So Maria was 9 when so that's the involvement Maria's had. As I say, total dedication to all things Comhaltas. The same with the Farrell family, you know. We've just loved it, and as I say, had total dedication to it all. So, well, we've always been very involved with the GAA, haven't we? And then, you know, there's all these associations. Well, Michelle's uncle has been the president of the Galway Association. I think Michael was 1 year. But for many, many years, her uncle Johnny Madden has been the president of the Galway Association. So we're very lucky in Manchester that we had all these associations. So they would often have a dinner dance, and we would be invited to play. So that's what I'm saying, we'd have to go to dinner dances. Also, because we had the St. Patrick's Day parade, we would often go to that as well. We always put a group in for that as well, you know. We were at the very first one. I've still got the T-shirts from the first one, Manchester Irish, because that time Guinness were very generous, you know, when they first started. Give out loads of stuff. I've got T-shirts. And I got them for all our group that was there playing that day. Don't think they've still got them, but I'm a hoarder, so I still have them. So. would just like to say, I don't think anybody could have the children involved in anything better. You know, you go down there and you meet, might sound a little bit like a ghetto, but everybody meets their own type of friends. The thing is with Irish people, if you go through something like this, it's not just where you come from, it's the whole of Ireland that's involved in it, because music is a great leveller, so everybody comes to it. There's no, oh, well, you come from another part, so we don't want you here. Everybody would go to it. And if children go to Comhaltas branches for music, they make great friends. It's a lifetime thing that they have. And I tell you, I'm 80 years old now, and I tell you, I would never have had the fun or the life I've had without being involved in Comhaltas. And that's another thing. People are not really always aware of it. I'm sure they will be now. If you're a member of Comhaltas, you can actually stay at the headquarters, you know, at Monkstown. They do bread and breakfast there for members, and they actually do it for people who are non-members. Sometimes that vexes me because non-members can't get in. But it's a wonderful thing, and then they have a ceilidh at night, and it's just great, you know. And we've stayed there many, many times. And years ago, the O'Carroll group were invited over to there, and they made a tape with all the tunes that they were playing then, you know, that were very popular at the time, under the leadership of Delia Buckley. I say, this Roscommon woman who was fantastic. So.
My name is Barbara Ahern. I've been a member of Comhaltas for quite some time. I used to take the children to the classes, and I've been interested in the language since I was a youngster myself. So they asked me to be Trorin a Gaeilge of the branch, so that I keep everybody on their toes learning the Irish. So I'm still learning myself. I learn with the Manchester Irish Language Group, and we're doing lessons online at present. We've got Pat McGuinness and Terry Link, Tom Toher, Tony King, and a few others doing the teaching. So it works quite well. And I try to get some of the members of Comhaltas interested in the different phrases that they can use at the meetings. My mother taught me some phrases when I was very young, and of course it was the old language before they, what I would say, modernised it. And so it was in the 40s when I first learnt some Irish, and I tried again when I was a teenager with a couple of chaps from the Gaelic League, and I did some lessons at the Gaelic League as well. It is a hard language to learn. You have to be very committed to doing it, and we're doing the lessons online at the moment because of the COVID restrictions, but we're hoping we'll get back to doing them in person now, so that's the way it will be. We normally would have them at St Kentigern's, and usually at the beginning of the year they have quite a few new members coming in to register for learning, and sometimes it drops off by the end of the year, and they do them in terms just like the school terms, you know, because some of them have been school teachers as well, so they are professionals at it. So it's nice to have that facility, really. So we're hoping St Kentigern's will reopen perhaps in September, and then we can go back to learning, because it's much nicer when you can meet people and you're able to converse with them. You actually need a lot of practice at it. Well, it's important to keep going because otherwise it'll be lost forever, like other languages. I mean, Latin and Greek sort of phased out a little bit, but the Italians, theirs is similar to the Latin, but Latin is the root of some of the words that we have in English as well. Yeah, there's quite a few coming in trying to learn it now. Yes, we have a few young ones coming. I think they can do better than me at the language. Well, some of them are natives at it. A couple of the youngsters that play with St Wilfred's, their mum and dad come from Ireland and they speak Irish at home. I believe there's people in Wales learning it as well, and people in Scotland, but there's a Scottish version of Gaelic as well. It's slightly different, but there are some things the same. But a lot of people think it's a dying out language. But if you've got to work at it to keep it going, otherwise it will be lost forever. But there are some regions in Ireland where they actually use the language a lot. Down in Kerry, usually around Connacht, and now in Donegal. And my husband used to work with people from Donegal, and he was from Limerick, so he got into their bloss as well, and he managed to understand them when they were speaking, so it was quite good. Well, you can use the movements for the dancing. You can say them in Irish, like go all chimple, that means lead round, and the clear horn, that means sides, and slaughter under hackroom, double quarter chain. So I mean, you can call the dancing in Irish as well. So it does work quite well. In fact, the first dancing books actually had all the instructions written in Irish as well as English. I've got one at home that does that. And somebody gave me a book and she thought it was instructions for Irish dancing, but when I had a look at it, it was an Irish recipe book. A lot of the old Irish recipes would die out if you didn't manage to translate them. It's just getting together and meeting people is good, and you've got a lot of friends and you make new friends. Somebody did say that the word Ceilidh means a visit, but not according to the dictionary. It can mean a visit, I suppose, and you're sort of intermingling with each other, but it brings people together. Tá súla gom Bonchif Taravat agus Tanivas and Grinusha. Did you find this meeting both pleasant and useful?